Welcome back, everybody. In this video, we're going to talk about the fact that I might not have everything figured out. We've been going through Romans 12, learning about what Paul has to tell us that might be helpful to us as we go through these corona times. So we've talked through verses 1 and 2 so far, and we're up to verse 3. Let's go ahead and read it together. It says, "For by the grace given me, I say to every one of you, do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you." You know, what I think Paul is doing here in this story that he's painting in Romans 12, this arc, this narrative, I think what he's doing is he's setting up the building blocks for the church in Rome to come together, to be more unified. Because there's a lot of divisions, there's a lot of tension among the groups in Rome. And so far in verse 1, what he called the people to, and calls us to as well, is to sacrifice. Right? In verse 2, he asks us to not be a part of the world, not to think the way the world does, not behave the way the world does. And, I think that probably means that he's asking us to be holy. And then finally, in verse 3, it seems like he's asking us to be humble. In times like this, it is really easy to have a really strongly, firmly held opinion, where it's like you just don't understand why people can't see it the way that you see it. And what this passage says, look at it real close, right? This is picking up kind of towards part of the way in. It says, "Do not think of yourself more highly than you ought, but rather think of yourself with sober judgment, in accordance with the faith God has distributed to each of you." I think more than anything, this is a call to be patient with one another. It is not right for us to have a really strongly, firmly held opinion that then is forced upon someone else that you have to think this way. Now, that is not to say that there isn't a right way to feel or a right way to think on a particular issue. But what this is a call to is that we need to be patient with one another as we work ourselves into unity. There's nothing that will break apart relationships faster than being dogmatic and sticking to this opinion no matter what you say or anything that, it doesn't help people be drawn together. And I think that that's the point that Paul is starting to build. He's starting to build his way up to a place where people who are very different in the way that they think start to come together. I hope that's been helpful to you. Let's keep thinking about it. Looking forward to verse 4 coming up next.